Welcome to Sci-Fi Bedtime Stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss new stories. Welcome to Sci-Fi Bedtime Stories. Please like and subscribe to catch new tales. Enjoy your listening. The mist embraced the forest floor like a spectral shroud, hiding the gnarled roots and fallen branches that threatened to trip the unwary. Timothy moved through the eerie landscape with practiced ease, his boots barely disturbing the damp earth. The ex-soldier's weathered face was a mask of intense concentration as he tracked the path of the mysterious object that had blazed across the night sky mere hours ago. A faint glow pierced the gloom ahead, and Timothy's hand instinctively tightened on his energy rifle. He crouched low, using the twisted trunks for cover as he approached the source of the light. It became clear, a sleek escape pod, its hull cracked open like some otherworldly egg. "Damn," Timothy muttered, his gravelly voice barely a whisper. He'd hoped for salvage, not complications. As he drew closer, a figure stirred within the wreckage. Timothy's breath caught in his throat. Lying amidst the debris was the most captivating woman he'd ever seen. Her skin was a rich emerald green, seeming to shimmer in the pod's flickering emergency lights. A tattered white dress clung to curves that would make a saint question his vows. But it was her face that truly arrested him. Delicate features twisted in pain, eyes fluttering beneath long lashes. Timothy wrestled with himself. Every instinct screamed to walk away, to maintain the isolation that had kept him safe on this god-forsaken rock. But something in the woman's vulnerable beauty reached past his defenses. "You'd better be worth the trouble," he growled, carefully lifting her from the wreckage. She was surprisingly light in his arms, her skin cool to the touch. A faint, intoxicating scent surrounded her, something floral, yet utterly alien. The trek back to Timothy's fortified home was arduous. By the time he reached the concealed entrance, his arms ached and sweat beaded on his brow. He punched in the access code with his elbow, cursing as the door took its sweet time to open. Inside, Timothy gently laid the woman on his spare cot in the harsh light of his living quarters. He could see the extent of her injuries, nothing life-threatening, but enough to keep her unconscious for a while. He set about cleaning and dressing her wounds, all the while acutely aware of her otherworldly beauty. "What have I gotten myself into?" he muttered, shaking his head. Hours passed. Timothy alternated between tending to his unexpected guest and pacing restlessly. When her eyelids finally fluttered open, revealing eyes of liquid gold, he found himself momentarily speechless. Where am I?" Her voice was melodic, with an accent he couldn't place. Timothy cleared his throat. "Safe for now. I found you in a crashed escape pod." The woman tried to sit up, wincing in pain. I can't remember. How did I get here?" "That makes two of us, sweetheart," Timothy said dryly. "Got a name?" She frowned, concentration etching lines across her perfect forehead. "Mary, I think." "Yes, I'm Mary." "Well, Mary, I'm Timothy. Welcome to the ass end of the galaxy." A ghost of a smile played across her lips. "Charming. Is that how you greet all your guests?" "Only the ones who fall out of the sky," Timothy retorted, surprised to find himself grinning. It had been a long time since he'd engaged in banter. "How are you feeling?" Mary gingerly tested her limbs. "Sore, but alive, thanks to you." She fixed him with those mesmerizing golden eyes. "Why did you help me?" Timothy shrugged, suddenly uncomfortable under her gaze. "Seemed like the right thing to do. Don't read too much into it." "Of course not," Mary said, a hint of amusement in her voice. "I wouldn't dream of mistaking basic decency for anything more interesting." Timothy felt heat rise to his cheeks and cursed inwardly. He was acting like a green recruit, not a battle-hardened veteran. "You should rest," he said gruffly. "I'll get you some water." As he turned to leave, Mary's hand shot out, grabbing his wrist. The touch sent an electric jolt through Timothy's body. "Thank you," she said softly. "Truly." Timothy nodded curtly and retreated to the kitchen area, desperate for a moment to collect himself. He splashed cold water on his face, trying to shake off the strange effect Mary seemed to have on him. When he returned with a glass of water, Mary had managed to prop herself up against the wall. Timothy couldn't help but notice how the simple movement had caused her dress to slip, revealing more of her flawless green skin. He thrust the glass towards her, perhaps more forcefully than necessary. "So," Mary said after taking a long drink, "do you make a habit of rescuing damsels in distress?" Timothy snorted. "Hardly. This planet isn't exactly a tourist destination." "And yet here you are," Mary observed. "A man alone in the wilderness. There must be a story there." "Nothing worth telling," Timothy said flatly. "What about you? Any memories coming back?" Mary's face clouded. "Fragments, flashes, but nothing concrete." She looked up at Timothy, vulnerability clear in her eyes. "I'm scared. I don't know who I am or why I'm here." Despite his best efforts to remain detached, Timothy felt a surge of sympathy. "Look, you're safe here for now. We'll figure this out." "We?" Mary raised a curious eyebrow. My, Timothy. Are you offering to be my gallant protector?" Timothy rolled his eyes. "More like your reluctant guardian. Don't misconstrue my intentions." Mary's laughter, like ethereal music, sent an involuntary shiver down Timothy's spine. "Wouldn't dream of it," she murmured with a playful wink. As the days unfolded, Timothy found himself increasingly captivated by Mary. Her sharp wit and lively banter chipped away at his hardened exterior. He caught himself smiling more than he had in years. Yet with this burgeoning attraction came a growing sense of dread. Mary was transforming. Subtle at first, her skin began to radiate an inner luminescence, her already intoxicating fragrance intensifying, becoming utterly irresistible. Timothy struggled to maintain his composure around her. One evening, during a simple meal, Mary leaned in close. "Timothy," she purred, her voice a silken caress. "Have I somehow displeased you?" He nearly choked on his food. "What? No, why would you think that?" "You've seemed so distant lately," she confessed, her golden eyes searching his face with unnerving intensity. "I feared I had perhaps overstayed my welcome." Timothy shifted, feeling a prickle of discomfort. "It's not that. It's just, there's something different about you. Can't you sense it?" Mary tilted her head, a thoughtful expression gracing her features. "I do feel peculiar, more vibrantly alive, somehow." She gently placed a hand on Timothy's arm, and a jolt of heat coursed through him. Is that truly a negative thing? Before Timothy could articulate a response, a deafening explosion ripped through the building, shaking its very foundations. Instinct took over, and he propelled Mary to the ground as debris rained down around them. "Stay down!" he yelled, already reaching for his weapon. The door to his sanctuary burst inward, revealing a squad of heavily armed figures. "Well, well," a gruff voice boomed. "Looks like we struck gold, gentlemen. The prize and her new acquisition." Timothy's mind raced. Prize? He glanced at Mary, who mirrored his own confusion and terror. "No time for inquiries now." He opened fire, his energy rifle tearing through the smoke and chaos. Years of ingrained combat reflexes guided him, and Timothy moved with deadly efficiency. But these were no ordinary mercenaries. They were highly trained, utterly relentless. Amidst the escalating firefight, Timothy caught glimpses of Mary. To his astonishment, she wasn't trembling in fear. Instead, her eyes blazed with an otherworldly light. And she moved with a supernatural grace, evading blaster fire that should have vaporized her. One of the assailants closed in, and Timothy engaged him in brutal hand-to-hand combat. It was a desperate, visceral struggle, but he managed to subdue the man, pinning him to the ground. Timothy pressed his rifle to the attacker's throat. "Speak," he commanded, his voice a low growl. "Who sent you?" The man chuckled, blood frothing at his lips. "You have no comprehension of what you're up against, do you? She isn't merely some stray alien. She is of royal lineage, and her period of power is imminent. Her potent pheromones will incite every warrior in the sector into a frenzy of lust and fury. Her family intends to either keep her contained or see her eliminated." Timothy's blood ran cold. He looked towards Mary, who stood amidst the carnage, her pristine white dress now a canvas of soot and blood. She met his gaze, and for a fleeting moment, he glimpsed something ancient and formidable within those golden depths. "Timothy," she whispered, her voice thick with a sudden rush of emotion. I remember now. They speak the truth. I am indeed dangerous." He made a swift, decisive choice. "We must depart immediately. This place offers no further safety." As they fled into the dense, misty forest, leaving the smoldering ruins of Timothy's haven behind, he couldn't shake the profound realization that his life had been irrevocably altered. Whatever Mary's true nature, whatever power she wielded, he was now inextricably bound to her destiny. And as the alien moons ascended above the gnarled trees, casting an ethereal glow upon Mary's shimmering skin, Timothy acknowledged that he wouldn't have it any other way. Timothy paused their journey through the misty forest, leaning against a knotted tree trunk to regain his breath. Rain dripped from the tangled branches, drenching them both. He glanced at Mary, her emerald skin glistening like jewels with raindrops, and let out a sardonic sigh. "You know," he admitted, running a hand through his wet hair, "I'm beginning to question the magnitude of what I've involved myself in. When this season of yours truly ignites, how am I expected to maintain any semblance of control? I am, after all, only human." Mary tilted her head, a playful, knowing glint in her golden eyes. "Are you perhaps apprehensive, Timothy? Afraid you might lose yourself in my presence?" "Me? Apprehensive?" Timothy scoffed, though an undeniable tension laced his voice. "I've faced down an entire platoon of Zarna shock troopers without flinching. It's you who should harbor concerns." Mary moved closer, her body radiating a warmth that starkly contrasted with the chilling rain. "Oh? And what prompts such a statement?" Timothy swallowed hard, acutely aware of her nearness. "Well, you find yourself stranded here with a jaded former soldier who hasn't encountered a woman in years, don't you? Are you concerned I might exploit this circumstance?" In response, Mary closed the remaining space between them. Before Timothy could even register her intention, she pressed her lips to his in a passionate embrace that stole his breath. He devoured her kiss, and she returned it with an equal fiery passion, years of stifled longing and yearning surging through him. As they finally drew apart, gasping for breath, Mary whispered near his ear, a sound that sent tremors through his very being, unrelated to the biting, ancient rain. "Timothy, you don't need to hold anything back," she murmured. "I'm not afraid. Do as you wish with me." His pulse throbbed wildly, desire clashing with his ingrained duty and lingering distrust. Yet gazing into Mary's eyes, he perceived not mere infatuation, but a profound, burgeoning connection, possibly the genesis of something far more significant. He gently cradled her face in his calloused hands. "This is utterly absurd, you realize? We hardly know one another. You're an alien princess with some sort of pheromonal gift, and I'm just me." Mary's hand rested upon his. "Perhaps it is madness, but at this very moment, you are my entire universe, and I place my complete trust in you, Timothy. Whatever comes next, we shall confront it as one." Timothy inclined his head, a faint smile gracing his lips. "Together, you say. That resonates with me. He cast a glance toward the darkening heavens. We must seek refuge for the night. I know of a cave network not far from here, she offered. It will grant us a chance to dry ourselves and sort through this. As they continued their trek through the rain-drenched woods, a new, unspoken bond had woven itself between them. The fortifications Timothy had erected around his heart during his solitary existence began to erode, and though peril still lurked in the periphery, for the first time in an age, a flicker of hope for what lay ahead ignited within him. The cave's damp chill seeped into Timothy's frame as he coaxed a meager fire to life, its dancing flames casting an ethereal glow upon the rough-hewn rock. Mary sat near him, her emerald skin seeming to radiate an inner luminescence that intensified with each passing hour. Timothy found his gaze fixed upon her, a mixture of fascination and unease swirling within him. "You're staring again," Mary observed, a hint of amusement coloring her tone. Timothy grunted, feeling a flush of embarrassment. "Can you blame me? You're practically incandescent." Mary stretched languidly, her tattered white garment revealing much. "A consequence of my nature, I suppose. Does it trouble you?" "Troubled isn't quite the word," Timothy mumbled, attempting to concentrate on the fire. A comfortable silence descended, punctuated only by the crackling hearth and the distant murmur of the rain. Timothy felt a sense of ease settle over him, a strange calm that belied their perilous circumstances. Mary's presence had a peculiar way of soothing him, even as it stirred his innermost anxieties. Suddenly, Mary let out a sharp gasp, pressing a hand to her temple. Timothy was instantly by her side, his weathered face etched with concern. "What is it? Are you injured?" Mary's golden eyes widened in disbelief. I remember, Timothy. I recall it all." Over the ensuing hour, the truth unfolded. Mary was indeed a princess, heir to a vast cosmic dominion, but her nascent abilities, the power to sway emotions and allegiances through potent pheromones, had instilled terror in her family, who viewed her as a threat to their authority. "They sent me away," Mary confessed, her voice thick with sorrow. "Not to shield me, but to exploit me. They believed my powers could sow discord among their adversaries. I was intended to be a living weapon, a pawn for their avarice." Timothy's fists clenched. "Unconscionable," he hissed, "to treat their own kin with such callous disregard." Mary met his gaze, a poignant smile gracing her lips. "You're angered for my sake? That is a new sensation. My own people considered me nothing more than an instrument." "Indeed," Timothy growled. "I've witnessed more than enough of that mindset to last me several lifetimes." He paused, then added, "During the galactic conflicts, I served with an elite contingent. We were deployed on missions with near-certain fatality, expendable assets in the eyes of our superiors. I watched good men perish for futile objectives, all for some politician's agenda." Mary reached out, her comforting touch landing on his arm. The contact sent a jolt through Timothy's system. "Is that why you retreated here? To escape?" Timothy nodded, surprised at the ease with which the words emerged. "I couldn't tolerate the deception any longer. I decided I'd rather face the perils of an unknown world than continue their charade." "And yet," Mary murmured softly, "here you are, risking everything to aid me." Their eyes met, and the air between them seemed to vibrate with unseen energy. Timothy felt an irresistible pull drawing him closer. Their lips met in a kiss that began tenderly, but swiftly ignited into a tempestuous, primal passion. As they finally broke apart, both breathless, Timothy's mind raced. "Mary, we shouldn't. Your abilities, they're influencing me. I can no longer trust my own judgment." Mary's eyes flickered with hurt, then understanding. "You're correct. I apologize. That was not my intention." A distant detonation cut her short, followed by the ominous drone of approaching aircraft. Timothy sprang to his feet, his weapon in hand. "They've found us. We must depart. Immediately." They plunged deeper into the subterranean network, Timothy's enhanced nocturnal vision guiding them through the labyrinthine passages. Behind them, the sounds of pursuit intensified as they emerged onto a narrow precipice overlooking. Trapped by a vast chasm, Timothy faced a stark reality. "End of the line," he muttered, desperately seeking any escape. Mary's voice, eerily serene, countered, "Not quite." Before he could comprehend, she stepped to the precipice. Her form ignited with emerald light, the very air around her crackling with unleashed power. With a deliberate gesture, a bridge of pure energy unfurled, spanning the terrifying void. "How could you?" Timothy stammered, but Mary silenced him. "No time! Run!" They fled across the shimmering span, energy bolts from their pursuers searing the air. As they reached the far side, Mary dissolved the bridge with a sweep of her hand, leaving their attackers stranded and shouting in frustration. Timothy caught Mary as she sagged, utterly depleted. "That was astounding," he breathed, awe coloring his tone. A weak smile touched Mary's lips. "Told you I was dangerous." They pressed on, finding sanctuary in a remote mountain temple as dusk settled. Timothy established defenses while Mary rested. "You should sleep too," Mary offered, patting the space beside her. "You look utterly worn out." Timothy hesitated. "I don't know if that's wise." "Your powers?" Mary's expression softened. "Timothy, I swear I'm not manipulating you. What I feel for you, it's utterly genuine." After a pregnant pause, Timothy relented, settling beside her, her warmth a striking contrast to the cold stone. Despite his lingering doubts, he felt a sense of ease. "Tell me about your home," Mary murmured sleepily. "Before all this?" Timothy closed his eyes, memories resurfacing. "Not much to recount. I grew up on a mining colony in the Outer Rim, joined the military to escape, to see the galaxy. Ended up seeing far more than I ever bargained for." "You must have some cherished memories," Mary prodded gently. A faint smile ghosted across Timothy's lips. "There was this one time on Zeta Prime. My unit was pinned down by Sith forces, completely outgunned and outnumbered. Things seemed utterly hopeless. Then, from out of nowhere, this Jedi Knight appeared. I'd never witnessed anything like it. One woman against an entire army, and she cut through them as if they were mere shadows." Mary listened, captivated. "What became of her?" Timothy's expression darkened. "I never knew. The last I saw, she was single-handedly holding off a platoon of dark troopers so we could escape. She likely didn't survive." Mary squeezed his hand. "She sounds brave, just like you." Timothy scoffed. "I'm no hero, sweetheart. Simply a soldier trying to survive." "You are my hero," Mary whispered, nestling closer. Timothy yearned to protest, but exhaustion finally claimed him. He drifted into sleep, Mary's presence a comforting anchor. Their peace was violently shattered as the temple walls exploded inward. Timothy was instantly on his feet, blaster raised. A heavily armed mercenary squad breached the opening, led by a hulking figure in polished black armor. "Well, well," a synthesized voice boomed from behind the mask. "The lost princess and her new companion. How touching." Timothy unleashed a barrage, effortlessly deflected by the leader's energy shield. "Mary, flee!" But Mary stood resolute, power radiating from her in palpable waves. "No more running," she declared, her voice resonating with an otherworldly authority. "I am Mary, the rightful heir to the Emerald Throne. You will depart, and leave us in peace." For a fleeting moment, the attackers faltered, visibly affected by Mary's undeniable presence. Yet their leader remained unmoved, laughing coldly. "Your feeble tricks are useless against me, Princess. I have come too far to be swayed by mere pheromones and pretty words." The ensuing battle devolved into utter pandemonium. Timothy's extensive combat experience was invaluable, but they were hopelessly outnumbered. Mary fought beside him, her nascent powers proving devastating against the common mercenaries. However, their leader was a force of nature, shrugging off attacks that should have been fatal. As the conflict intensified, Timothy found himself back-to-back with Mary, encircled by adversaries. "Any other tricks you're hiding, Princess?" he gasped, his energy rifle critically low on power. Mary's eyes blazed with unyielding determination. "Just one. But it's a perilous gamble. I need your absolute trust." Timothy met her gaze and nodded solemnly. "Always." Mary closed her eyes, her focus absolute. The air around them began to shimmer and warp. Timothy felt an overwhelming surge of raw power, unlike anything he had ever experienced. When Mary's eyes snapped open, they were pools of pure, blinding light. What transpired next defied all earthly description. It was as if reality itself bowed to Mary's command. Their attackers were hurled backward by an unseen force, their weapons disintegrating into dust. The temple groaned, ancient stones defying gravity as they floated in the air. At the heart of this maelstrom stood Mary, radiating power like a nascent star. When the cataclysm subsided, their enemies lay scattered and unconscious. Only their leader remained upright, his armor fractured and sparking. "Impossible," he rasped, staggering away. "What are you?" Mary's voice echoed with an ethereal resonance. "I am what you always feared I would become. Now go, inform my family that their ultimate weapon has turned against them. The next time we meet, my mercy will be non-existent." The masked figure retreated, leaving Timothy. In the temple's ruins, Jan and Mary stood alone as battle's echoes died. Mary faltered, Timothy catching her, utterly spent. "I've got you," he whispered, holding her close. "You were magnificent." A faint smile graced Mary's lips. "We're quite a team." Carrying her from the crumbling temple, Timothy's mind swirled with the implications of her power. Mary possessed strength beyond their imagining, a beacon attracting forces unknown. Gazing at her peaceful face, Timothy knew one thing: they'd face whatever came, together. The fire's soft crackle painted warm shadows on the cave walls. Timothy leaned against the stone, his gaze drawn to Mary resting nearby. Her emerald skin pulsed with an inner light, a strange radiance illuminating the damp darkness. She stirred, her dress slipping slightly. The glow highlighted her form, its smooth lines like living sculpture. He noticed her effortless grace, attuned to a rhythm he couldn't grasp. Her golden eyes, half closed, shone with hypnotic allure. "You're quiet," Mary murmured, her voice melodic. Turning, her gaze met his, curious. "What occupies your thoughts, Timothy?" Timothy hesitated, struggling to articulate his thoughts. "I was simply in awe. You are so unique, not just your essence, but who you are as a being. I've encountered no one like you." Mary smiled, a curve that sent shivers through him. "You flatter me, yet I sense deeper concerns." Timothy ran a nervous hand through his hair, chuckling softly. "You see through me, perceptive as ever." She leaned forward, her luminous skin haloing her face. Her features were exquisitely refined. High cheekbones, full lips, and eyes that pierced his defenses. Yet a quiet strength resided within her, enhancing her beauty. "Tell me," she urged softly, "what secrets do you guard?" Timothy inhaled deeply. I've guarded my heart closely, Mary. Trust isn't easily given. With you, it's different. I don't know why, but it is." Mary moved closer, her emerald light bathing him gently. She reached out, her fingers brushing his hand, a surge of warmth unrelated to the fire coursing through him. "You've risked all for me," she whispered. "I see your walls, Timothy, but I also see the man they conceal." Timothy swallowed, his pulse quickening as she neared. Her scent was intoxicating, a blend of floral notes and something uniquely alien. He was captivated. The shimmer of her skin, the softness of her expression, her hair's cascading waves absorbing the firelight. "I fear," Timothy confessed, his voice barely audible. "Not you, but losing myself, feeling something I can't restrain." Mary cupped his face, her touch feather light. "Timothy," she murmured, her golden eyes locking on his. "Sometimes, to find what you seek, you must first be lost." Her words resonated deeply, dissolving his last reserves. Slowly he leaned in, their breaths mingling. When their lips met, the world stilled. The kiss began softly, exploring, then deepened, igniting a fire that had smoldered since their first meeting. Mary's hands moved to his shoulders, electric, while Timothy's arms encircled her, drawing her close. The world faded, leaving them entwined in the raw connection they had resisted. As the moment stretched, Timothy marveled at her beauty. Her glowing skin bathed them in soft light, each curve a masterpiece of elegance. Her golden eyes, half-lidded with desire, reflected his own intensity. She was unlike any he had known, vulnerable yet resilient, delicate yet powerful. Mary's voice broke through, a mix of urgency and tenderness. "Timothy," she whispered, her lips brushing his, "don't hold back." With those words, any barriers dissolved. Their movements became a dance of passion and trust, each touch, each caress, an unspoken promise of acceptance. Mary's glow enveloped them, the cave a sanctuary of warmth. Time ceased as they yielded to the moment, their bond. Enfolded in Mary's embrace, Timothy experienced a profound sense of wholeness, a belonging that defied comprehension. As their breaths synchronized and the hearth whispered softly, he grasped that for the first time in years, he was no longer adrift. Dawn's gentle light spilled into the cave, illuminating Timothy and Mary's intertwined forms. They stirred reluctantly, cherishing the profound connection forged through a night of shared passion. Timothy gazed at Mary, her emerald skin aglow. Amidst their precarious situation, contentment settled within him. "Morning, Princess," he whispered, tenderly brushing a stray lock from her face. Mary's golden eyes opened, a soft smile gracing her lips. "Waking up like this," she purred, stretching languidly, "is something I could easily grow accustomed to." Their idyllic stillness shattered as Timothy's heightened senses detected the distant hum of pursuing vessels. He rose instantly, a jolt of adrenaline coursing through him. "We must go. They are closing in." As they swiftly collected their scant belongings, Mary's expression clouded. "Timothy," she began, her voice thick with unspoken burdens, "there is something I must reveal. The truth about who orchestrates all of this." Timothy paused, sensing the gravity of her confession. "I'm listening." Mary inhaled deeply. "It's my family, my parents, my 2 sisters. They are the ones who dispatched these soldiers to end me." Timothy's eyes widened in disbelief. "Your own kin? How could they?" "They deem me feeble, spineless," Mary exclaimed, a sharp bitterness lacing her words. "Unfit to rule. My compassion was perceived as weakness, my abilities a threat, so they orchestrated my demise, masking it as a diplomatic mission gone awry." Timothy's hand clenched, a tempest of fury rising within him. "Unconscionable!" he roared. "How could they betray their own child?" Mary's eyes blazed with an unyielding resolve Timothy had never witnessed. "They underestimated me my entire existence. I strived for perfection, for obedience. But now—" She stood resolute, power radiating from her being. "Now, I will unveil my true capabilities." Timothy studied her, discerning the unyielding strength beneath her beauty. "What are you suggesting?" "I'm saying the time for evasion is over," she declared. "It's time to reclaim my birthright." Timothy nodded slowly, a grim smile gracing his lips. "Then, Princess, prepare for a rebellion. I stand with you, to the very end." Mary's expression softened, her hands cupping Timothy's face. "I will not permit that. We are united in this, remember?" Their gazes locked, an unspoken pledge passing between them. Then, with renewed purpose, they embarked on their fated path. The voyage to Mary's homeworld was perilous. They commandeered a small transport, narrowly evading patrols and navigating treacherous asteroid fields. As their destination neared, it became evident that Mary's powers had blossomed beyond their wildest expectations. Approaching the heavily fortified royal spaceport, Timothy tensed, anticipating a confrontation. Mary, however, simply smiled, a predatory glint in her eyes. "Observe," she whispered. She descended the ship's ramp with an assured gait, her worn white gown somehow exuding regality. The guards raised their weapons, then froze. Timothy watched, utterly astounded, as Mary's potent pheromones enveloped the guards. The once hostile soldiers lowered their arms, their gazes becoming distant with adoration. "My lady," one stammered, bowing deeply, "welcome home. Command us." Mary's voice was a silken caress, underscored by an unyielding authority. "Escort us to the palace. Anyone who obstructs us is to be neutralized." The guards assented with alacrity, falling into formation behind Mary and Timothy as they proceeded through the capital. Timothy marveled at the effortless sway Mary held over others, men and women alike succumbing to her charm, clearing their path, and offering aid. "This is almost disturbingly simple," Timothy remarked as they neared the palace gates. Mary's countenance grew serious. "The true battle commences now." They moved through the opulent chambers of the royal palace, Mary's pheromones ensuring their unimpeded passage. Timothy's instincts remained sharp, anticipating an ambush at every turn. Yet nothing could have prepared him for the tableau awaiting them in the throne room. Mary's family occupied their gilded seats, gazing down with utter disdain. Her father, a formidable man with a sneer etched onto his face, openly mocked her. Her mother, poised and glacial, regarded her with contempt. And her two sisters, striking resemblances to Mary, but lacking her inner fire, smirked with cruel amusement. "So," her father's booming voice boomed, "the wayward, timid prodigal returns. Have you come to beg absolution, child?" Mary stood tall, her voice resonating with command. "I have come to reclaim what is rightfully mine, Father. Yield your position, or face retribution." Laughter like ice shards echoed from her family. "You?" her mother scoffed. "You are too weak, too tender-hearted to govern. We should have disposed of—" "Years ago?" Timothy's grip tightened on his weapon, a visceral reaction. But Mary raised a hand, a silent plea to halt him. "Is that truly your belief about me?" she questioned, her voice a dangerous whisper, heavy with unspoken hurt. "That I am frail? Ineffectual?" Her father, his regal bearing now menacing, ascended his throne, his shadow engulfing her. "You are not," he declared, venom dripping from his words. "A profound disappointment, unworthy of this lineage." In a swift, desperate motion, he drew a ceremonial dagger, lunging towards Mary with a chilling, homicidal fury. Timothy's warning cry ripped through the air, but Mary moved with preternatural speed. She artfully sidestepped the deadly lunge, and in a tragic, ironical twist of fate, her father's own unleashed momentum propelled him forward. The gleaming blade, intended to pierce Mary's heart, found its own demise instead. A stunned silence descended upon the throne room, thick and suffocating. Mary's father collapsed, his magnificent robes now a canvas for his own spilled blood. Mary sank to her knees beside him, tears carving pathways through the dust on her cheeks. "Despite everything, Father," she choked out, cradling his head with infinite tenderness. To the astonished gazes of those present, a faint smile touched the dying king's lips. "Well executed," he rasped, his voice fading. "It appears you have finally found your strength. Perhaps now you are truly prepared." With those final, whispered words, the light in his eyes extinguished. Mary gently closed them, then rose with newfound resolve to face the remnants of her family. But where her mother and sisters had stood moments before, only vacant thrones remained. "Cowards!" Timothy spat, his voice laced with contempt. "They fled, not even sparing a glance your way." Mary's expression turned steely, a mask of grim determination. "Let them flee. Their dominion is at an end." In the days that followed, Mary decisively secured her right to rule. Her emerging self-assurance, coupled with her formidable abilities, swiftly captivated the kingdom's inhabitants and its influential leaders. Timothy remained a steadfast pillar of support, a loyal confidant, and invaluable advisor throughout this period. Months later, the kingdom thrived under Mary's benevolent yet authoritative governance. On a warm, tranquil evening, Timothy discovered her upon a palace balcony, her gaze lost in the ethereal glow of the twin moons. "Lost in contemplation, Your Majesty?" he inquired, a gentle teasing note infusing his voice. Mary turned, her face illuminated by a radiant smile. "Simply reflecting on our incredible journey," she replied, drawing him close. "None of this would have been possible without you, Timothy." Timothy chuckled, encircling her with his arms. "Oh, I don't know. You navigate challenges with remarkable skill on your own, and your inherent allure is undeniably potent." Mary laughed, a melody like delicate chimes. "Speaking of which," she began, a mischievous sparkle in her eyes, "my next receptive cycle is drawing near. Do you believe you can manage it?" Timothy's eyebrows arched in surprise. "I weathered the last one, didn't I? Bring it on, princess." Mary's expression softened, and she nervously bit her lip. "Actually, regarding that, there's something I need to share with you." Timothy's heart gave an unexpected leap. "What is it?" Mary took his hand, guiding it to rest gently upon her abdomen. "We shall need to prepare for an expanded royal nursery," she conveyed softly. Timothy's eyes widened, first in disbelief, then in overwhelming joy. He swept Mary into his arms, twirling her in a jubilant embrace as their laughter mingled. "A child? We're expecting a child." Mary nodded, her eyes shimmering with happy tears. "It seems your role will soon extend beyond loyal bodyguard. How does King Consort sound?" Timothy set her down with exquisite care, cupping her face in his hands. "It sounds perfect," he murmured, before sealing their declaration with a passionate kiss. Standing there, bathed in moonlight and the radiant promise of their shared future, Timothy marveled at the serendipitous turns of fate that had culminated in this profound moment. From an unexpected meeting in a shrouded forest to the esteemed rulers of an interstellar empire, their odyssey had been nothing short of miraculous. And as Mary nestled closer, her emerald skin aglow with happiness, Timothy knew with absolute certainty that their most magnificent adventure was only just beginning. Epilogue. 5 years had elapsed since Mary's ascension to the throne, and the royal palace had transformed from its formerly austere and oppressive atmosphere into a vibrant hub of life. Laughter now echoed through its corridors, frequently punctuated by the joyful patter of small feet. Timothy playfully pursued a giggling toddler with skin the color of vibrant blue, his expression a delightful mix of mock exasperation and fond amusement. "Zara, get back here with Daddy's blaster!" the little girl shrieked with infectious glee, brandishing the thankfully unloaded weapon above her head like a captured prize. She rounded a corner and collided playfully with Mary, who effortlessly scooped her up. "And what have we here, my little mischief-maker?" Mary inquired, gently liberating the blaster from Zara's grasp and returning it to a panting Timothy. "Mommy," Zara chirped, showing no hint of remorse. "I was playing Rebel Princess." Mary raised a playful eyebrow at Timothy. "Rebel Princess? Have you been regaling her with tales of our escapades again?" Timothy offered a sheepish shrug. "Well, she inquired about the origins of babies. I had to offer some form of distraction." Before Mary could respond, a boisterous symphony of shouts and crashing sounds emanated from further down the hallway. Their twin sons, Jax and Keo, came hurtling around the bend, thoroughly coated in what appeared to be blue jelly. "Mom! Dad!" they exclaimed in unison. "We inadvertently activated the royal food replicator, and now the kitchen is awash in dessert," Jax finished, his demeanor radiating more excitement than contrition. Mary pressed the bridge of her nose, stifling a laugh. "I distinctly recall us child-proofing that device after the regrettable Great Nerf Steak incident." Timothy beamed. "I'll handle this. You have that crucial diplomatic summit, correct?" Mary's eyes widened in alarm. "The Zelian ambassador arrives imminently." Just then, a breathless aide rushed in. "Your Majesties, the Zelian delegation is here, now." And the aide faltered, surveying the delightful pandemonium, the twins adorned with jelly, Zara clinging to her mother's gown, and Timothy attempting to conceal a blaster. Mary composed herself, exuding regal calm amidst the delightful chaos. "Indeed. Please inform the ambassador we shall attend them anon." With the aide gone, Mary faced Timothy, a glint of playful defiance in her gaze. "My dearest, shall we engage in intergalactic diplomacy, cloaked in our children's delightful creations?" Timothy chuckled, drawing her near for a brief embrace. "Simply another glorious day, my queen." As they guided their sticky charges to the royal baths, oblivious to the peculiar thrumming emanating from a forgotten relic in Zara's chamber, a veiled present from a hidden enemy beyond the stars. The artifact pulsed with ethereal power, its luminescence growing with every tick of the clock. Unbeknownst to the royal household, a monumental journey was commencing, destined to propel them past known galaxies and profoundly alter their perceptions of existence. Yet for this very moment, a diplomatic emergency demanded their attention, alongside the urgent task of tidying up their sweet, sticky domain.